We're 9 days away from the Super Bowl. First for the head coaches, as coaches. Vrabel was there a few times. First for the QBs. First for the wide receivers. Here to share his experience is Super Bowl champion Greg Jennings in a segment we're tentatively calling 3 Things I Wish I Knew About Playing in the Super Bowl Before I Played in the Super Bowl. Greg, the floor is yours.
So it's interesting because I was having a hard time identifying 3 things that I wish I knew before playing in the Super Bowl. So I kind of just highlighted what I kind of figured out on the fly, and then one before. But living out each moment and story time. Yes. The reason why I say living out each moment is because when you are a focal point of an offense or a team, the opposition, they're going to focus on what you do, where you are at every point in the game. And so JSN, the expectation is for you to be great. Know that they're going to focus on you. You know this. Your coaching staff know this. Everybody know this. There was a play in the Super Bowl that I made, my first touchdown, and we started out in a 2-by-2 set. I motioned over to a 3-by-1. Here's the play. But prior to all of this happening, during the motion, everyone on the Pittsburgh defense is yelling, 85, there he is, 85, 85, from the defensive line to the linebacker level to the secondary. In that moment, which is why I say live out every moment, I'm going in motion and I'm in my head like, well, I'm not getting the ball. And then also in that same very moment, once I get lined up, I understand because I believe I'm not getting the ball, well, I got to create an opportunity for my other guys around me to get the ball. So I still got to run my route with the same level of intensity and expectation of what the defense has. And this happens as a result. And so the reason why I say live out every moment, because we think we visualize things and we script things in our mind and we dream up how we're going to hoist the trophy and all the success, but it never really works out that way. The second thing I would say is I learned.
It was a pretty sick catch.
Like,
yeah, it was.
I mean,
you took a shot.
Lit you
up.
up.
Can give more than what you
shot.
think.
Good job.
I found out I had more than what I thought I had. And why I say this is we all say, you know, give more, be more, do more, whatever it takes. But until you're in this moment, until it's right in front of you and you have the Super Bowl lying in the balance and you are about to play in this game and you're playing in this game, you are willing to do whatever it takes. In that moment, what you see me doing, I'm telling my coaching staff and Aaron Rodgers, the corner route is open. I don't care who runs it. It can be Jordy, it can be James Jones, anyone can run it. It will score. It will produce a great result for us. I had never prepared for a game the way that I prepared for this game.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, you believe that you prepare. Everybody's a competitor when you're playing in this sport, and you believe that you do everything that you can to win games. When you play in this game, you find yourself doing more, and you realize, man, I've kind of been shortchanging my preparation, my ability to literally be more than what I've been all season long. And in this game, it all played out. The 3rd and 10 moment, it was special. I was prepared for it because I was more. And so the last thing I will say, yeah, this is a 3rd and 10. Everything on this play says Greg is not supposed to get this ball. But because I was asking Charles Woodson, Tramon Williams, I did self-scout on myself. Like, if they view me a certain way, I want to see how they view me so I can then compete that way and combat that. So Ike Taylor in this moment, he likes to get handsy. I usually didn't mind DBs getting hands on me. And so I had the tendency to get off the line of scrimmage and run straight down the field, but they're touching me. They're touching me up, if you will. And I didn't want to do that. And you see me swipe the hand off, hands get up, pluck the ball. First down, we go on to win that game. That's a huge moment in that game. So I lived that out as well.
Heck yeah.
The last thing.
So by the way, before you keep going, I'm about 60 more seconds of this from being like, you got robbed. Super Bowl MVP. I'm seeing.
Great game.
I mean, I'm like, wait. He had 4 catches. They all were huge.
Like my first
there was touchdowns.
Jordy has a case as well. Jordy was special in that game as well. The last thing is the Super Bowl is not for the players. It's not for us. It's for the fans. It's for everybody in attendance. And we have this preconceived idea of, man, I'm playing in the Super Bowl, everything, the glitz and the glam and all the things. There's a lot that goes on while you're down there. The media day, all of these things. You are so mentally dialed in because it's almost you're driven by a fear of losing the game, a fear of not being what you need to be for your team. And maybe it was just me, but I just didn't want to have a moment where I felt like I could have, should have done more.
Were you more scared of losing than you were fired up to win?
So the strange thing about that is I never once thought about losing.
Heck, it's like Marty Supreme.
I never envisioned.
Spoilers.
I never envisioned the other team's confetti falling down. And so the last thing I'll end up saying, and I didn't put it on here, is what I learned about playing in that game and getting to that game. It takes away a little bit of your drive.
What do you mean?
Your passion, because of how you approach every single season. Because prior to getting to that game, that was it. That was the mountaintop. Everything was built towards accomplishing what we did. And so that doesn't mean I didn't work. That doesn't mean we didn't still strive for that goal. But it just, the Bradys of the world, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, and maybe because they've lost one, it fuels them a little bit more, and they are able to reignite that flame of believing that I got to be more. I have never done it before. Brady always, I admired his ability to reboot what I called his playing career every single year. It's like what happened last year never happened. When you play in a game like that, you become a little entitled. You become a little bit more expectant of, we got a team. We can do this again. We went 15-1 the next season. Did not get to that game. Had a different type of approach.
Brew, I want to save some time for your takes on as a wide receiver in a big high school.
Yeah, we made the state playoffs and got stomped. I did have some catches, but we got stomped.
Greg, that was excellent.
That was outstanding.
Do you have
Good
anything
job.
for Greg?
Well, I wish he could have given me these tips before that track meet I told you about all those years ago. Greg will get that joke. That's for Greg and Greg only because that's the funny. He just loves the story. I mean, I may or may not have been in the state final. Faked an injury. Nobody can quite remember. It doesn't matter. I didn't think I had more to give. I saw I could give more than you think. I thought I had given all I could give.
You faked an injury?
It was in a relay. I thought I was running a bad time, so I was like, I got to pull up on this thing. And then I just cost my team everything. It is true. One of my teammates is the mayor of Kansas City now. Yeah, that's all true. It's
Can't
all true.
win with him.
Can't win with him. I didn't know. I didn't know to live out each moment, or that I could get more than I think.
An athlete did
Exactly.
Running. It's running. Started grabbing the hammy. Grabbing the hammy. I needed an excuse for why I was running a bad time.
Talking about all the great quarterbacks in the AFC. Drake Maye will end, besides Mahomes, Drake Maye will end and the Prince, end his sophomore year in the Super Bowl. How does his shot at a ring affect the other AFC QBs, the ringless ones? Well, Burrow made an appearance his sophomore year. Josh and Lamar will go into year 9 trying to get there. Does Drake reaching the Super Bowl affect Allen, Burrow, or Lamar more?
I think Burrow.
Really?
Because Lamar and Josh they've both won MVPs, obviously Lamar too. So they've kind of established a legacy. I get it. Obviously, they need to win a Super Bowl and get to one. But they've established a legacy outside of winning a Super Bowl. Like both of them, certainly Lamar, and I say both of them are Hall of Famers already. And Burrow isn't.
Correct.
And Burrow's kind of claim to fame was he beat Mahomes. He got to this Super Bowl when you just couldn't beat Mahomes. Now, though, with Drake Maye getting there, it just kind of lessens that. And then Lamar and Josh are with better teams and better franchises. So you have confidence that they're going to kind of get built up and have, I mean, even next year, I'm sure we all expect them to be in the hunt. We can't say that about the Bengals. So we look at that franchise and the way they run it and what they've done with their defense, and we say, will Burrow even get to another Super Bowl? So I think it affects him more.
I think it affects Josh Allen more.
Wow.
And I'll tell you my reasoning. like growing up in the neighborhood, you're the kid that you dominate in every sport. You're the best athlete. You have nobody that can compete with you. And then there's another family that moves into the neighborhood. And they bring a kid, he comes outside and it's like, oh shoot, that's Drake Maye. It was Tom Brady, and Josh got over that. In the last few years, Josh had nobody to compete with him in his own neighborhood. Now it's like
This is an AFC East.
AFC East, correct. Yeah. He was expected to get out of that, no problem, unscathed. So we always bookmarked Josh Allen's going to be competing for a Super Bowl. We still feel like he can, but now his road just got a little tougher, because now you have a guy in your division that you're going to have to box with him twice. You're going to have to go through him twice. He's already gotten you once, you've gotten him. He's the younger of the two. We see you coming to press conferences with crutches on, so you're expected to be even more. He's going to get even better. I don't know if Josh can get even better. I'm sure he can play more efficient. But, like, I just feel like it affects Josh Allen more, because now all of a sudden Lamar and Burrow, they've been battling every year pretty much. They're in the same division. And then you got obviously Patrick Mahomes, who always is there waiting for everybody to get done. But now Josh Allen actually has to compete to get out of his division.
So I agree with you in that Drake Maye's, this is going to sound weird, existence affects Josh Allen more than affects the other ones because of the divisional piece of it. But Brew went exactly where I was going to go, which is that Mahomes is, as far as accomplishments and legacy and all of that, in a class by himself amongst active quarterbacks. He's minted. Allen and Lamar are minted in a different way, which is the consistent regular season dominance and accolades that have gone along with it. Lamar with far more than Allen, for what it's worth, but Allen seemingly with a kind of more media support. If those guys, I don't think that Allen is, if he retired today, a Hall of Famer, but it would. I don't think if he retired today, but I think it'd be stunning if he didn't end up being a Hall of Famer. Lamar, if he retired today, because of the two MVPs, would be. Joe Burrow is, to your point, not. And there's no argument for it that he is. And if Drake Maye has jumped him in the line, when, to your point, we think Drake Maye is only going to get better, that was Joe Burrow's thing. Now, I'm not trying to turn this into a Chiefs or Mahomes discussion. Was Joe Burrow's thing really he made a Super Bowl, or was it really he beat Mahomes in the playoffs? Like, which of those two things actually weighed heavier? Because Drake Maye didn't get the opportunity to beat Mahomes in the playoffs. Not saying you guys wouldn't have, but they just didn't get the opportunity this year. The Chiefs didn't make it. But I think that, especially right now when, like, Hall of Fame stuff is in the zeitgeist, and there's only so many guys at a position from each era that make it, and a lot of it's because it's like, well, was he ever the best at his spot? And Burrow doesn't yet have a claim, I was ever the best quarterback in the league for a season. And now if we're saying he's going to have another guy that for the entirety of however long his prime is, he is going to have to compete with, along with Josh and Lamar, let alone Patrick, I do think that it impacts Burrow the most.
He's never finished higher than fourth in the MVP race.
Right, and he's done that twice.
All of them have already won.
These teams are all, I don't know if you put the Bengals on the SBOB list. Usually not.
No. Burrow more than the team.
No, the Bengals at this point would just love to make the playoffs.
Right. So I mentioned they're going into year 9. So let's assume.
Who's going into year 9?
Lamar and Josh.
Okay.
Let's assume Lamar gets it. Then we're going into gets to the Super Bowl. We're going to year 10. Like, Josh has been in the league a decade and still not there.
Well, one of the two of them are the spot by definition.
Yeah. So someone's going into year 10, a decade in the league, and one of the iconic players of the last 10 years hasn't even touched the Super Bowl. I think I looked it up. Stafford was 14 years in Detroit.
Yeah.
I think it was 14 before he moved. But we think of that as like, oh my God, he was just out in the wilderness and there was no success. All of a sudden, it's like, all right, year 10, I'm in like Stafford territory of just being with a feudal
they're much better teams, though.
Yeah,
I know, but
because Stafford didn't win a playoff.
But when you look at, but I'm just saying, getting to the ultimate goal, all of a sudden, I think you have to kick around that someone's going for career.
Somebody is.
You think?
I think someone is.
Someone's going
probably
because of Drake Maye.
Not necessarily, but it's a good chance. I mean, they all could win them.
Yes.
There's no doubt. They all. It just, you can't have another Mahomes type run, whether it's Mahomes or Drake Maye, or if somebody's going to go on that type of run, then yeah, one of them's probably going without it.
This is just getting there.
Right. That's that's the other, and it's also, and this is maybe more of a discussion for next week. It's also why, for you, our resident Pats fan, like, there's so many different things bouncing around your head going into this game. But one of them is, man, finish the deal. Because I'm maybe not quite as optimistic as you are about the Pats next decade, but I'm pretty optimistic. But even with that said, when you are just to get to the game, most likely most years going to have to go through those three guys on the screen, plus Patrick, plus, you know what I mean? God knows, now that Justin Herbert finally has an offensive coordinator, that'll fix it. It's just all of that. Like, this is such a golden opportunity that I'm sure Joe Burrow thought, and we've talked about this before, when they lost that Super Bowl this close to the Rams, plenty more chances.
Yep.
The guy's been in the playoffs one time since.
I think that's one of the reasons why he's so stressed.
Burrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, and all of a sudden he starts talking about his career.
Everybody's stressed, man. Burrow was stressed during the year. Lamar was stressed at the end. Harbaugh ends up being fired. Josh is crying in the press conference. Like, it all was different phases of it. So it's hard.
Drake was a little bit stressed on
Drake was stressed on the bench when you thought he was playing great.
He was just like, man, this is hard going to the Super Bowl as a 23-year-old. Josh's like, yeah, I'm actually going to my 9th, but don't worry about it. You're in good hands. Josh Allen attended new coach Joe Brady's introductory press conference. Greg, he's on crutches and a walking boot. Said he played through a broken bone in his foot, suffered late in the season. Take a listen.
If we had a game this week, I would be playing this week. Absolutely. You kidding me? Yeah, I had a little broken bone in there. So they went and took it out and cleaned it up. Obviously, not ideal situation, painful throughout the weeks, but again, game day, different story, just being able to put that to the side and just go out there and play football. Not to get into the weeds of it, but it's been an older injury, but just re-aggravated it.
Sounds like Sean Payton. Does this change your view of the playoff loss, Greg?
Nope. Look, you guys know I say this all the time. No one cares. No one cares. If you win, I think it's like, man, that was impressive. He did that with a broken foot. You lose, we're like, well, I mean, I'm not going to feel sorry for you, because every time you put on that uniform, the expectation is that we're going to get the product that we've always gotten. That's the expectation of Josh. That's the expectation of everybody in that locker room, and that's certainly the expectation of the fans sitting in those bleachers. So, like, you can feel however you want to feel. The reality is, okay, he had the injury, but also both can be true. The reality is no one feels sorry for you. No one feels like, man, if his foot wasn't broke, we would have won.
Right.
Because did his foot cause him to throw that interception?
Exactly.
Did foot cause him to make those turnovers? Now, he talked about not having his feet in the right not underneath him and setting his feet, and if I had a playback here or there, well, yeah. Everybody says that when they lose. So
that's not why I was running with the ball like this on that fumble.
Yeah.
Now, I'm with Greg. Look, he's a warrior. I will give him credit. Like, he is a warrior, and I know that was tough to play through that. But like Greg, once you're out there, man, nobody cares. It would have changed it had he not played. Had he not played because of a broken foot, and I'm glad he did, but had he not played because of a broken foot, all the criticism he got against him last week or whenever that was would have just been, oh, man, what luck.
It would have been the Bo Nix comment.
It would have been right. You couldn't have blamed him at all. Now we blamed him for that loss, so that would have changed it. But once you're out there, man.
So I don't know that I 100% agree with you guys that once you're out there, definitively across the board, we have to treat it as if you have no injury. Like, so
well, if we saw him visibly,
that's the point that I was gonna make. Like, if he came out there and from the opening snap, we're like, man, he's not running at all. He looks nothing like Josh Allen. And then we found this out, it'd be like, oh, there's the explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched this full game. He looked like the best and the worst of Josh Allen in that game. He had some amazing moments. He ran the ball a ton.
Yep.
He had some great throws. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I know how much that foot did or didn't affect him. Just from as a viewer, at no point was there a single one of his 4 turnovers that, to me, logically, it's like, oh, if the 5th metatarsal wasn't broken, I think that's different. Like it was a fumble on a careless play. It was a strip sack from behind. And it was one bad throw and one, what the Bills think was a perfect throw and a perfect catch that was then stolen away. And so so it doesn't change it for me at all. If he had come out and looked, honestly, like how one of those random Lamar games, where it's like, wait, he won't run.
He's getting chased down by like 300-pound guys.
Then that would be one thing. But that's not what that game was.
Can I zoom out a little bit?
Yeah.
Just not specifically about the Broncos game. Seeing Josh Allen in a walking boot and on crutches hit me a certain type of way.
Oh, about his big picture?
I almost put him in the category that I reserve for LeBron tweaking his ankle. Like, all I need to do is tighten up my shoelaces. And it was happening a little bit in the Jags game when he's trying to, like, I think it was like their awkward tush push.
Yeah.
He's twisting around, he's like, his legs getting bent. But Bill's coaching staff and their play calling, Greg, to me, do not treat Josh Allen with the same TLC as Andy Reid treats Patrick Mahomes. And I know they're totally different players, but it feels like winning the game, obviously, priority number 1. Patrick Mahomes' health, keeping him out of harm's way, priority number 2. I don't know, and maybe that is for the Bills, but I feel like the Chiefs are constantly thinking about Mahomes. He doesn't do those crazy
And this year, by the way,
sneaks.
they didn't do as good of a job of that, and Patrick didn't do as good. And Patrick ended up
he needed to push the lever a little bit. So do you think this affects the way? This is the first time it's like a Rocky.
Luckily, the Bills didn't promote that play caller to head coach.
I don't. I think this is who Josh Allen is, and you.
For how long though?
You lean into it until you can't. I mean, I don't think he has shown us that he can play a version of football and they reach the goals that they have for themselves without him being this version of Josh Allen, as far as the physical version, the version that can run the ball and use his legs.
So like 2 weeks ago, during one of the OT segments, I don't know if it was Danny or I think it was Danny, and I think it might have been the day you were out. Danny just said kind of in passing when we were talking about Josh and Lamar. Like, Josh is obviously the better passer. And I saw your reaction. I saw your Bruce's reaction. And Bruce's reaction was like, really? Is it obvious? And what I think, the reason I'm bringing that up right now is, like, Josh is certainly more, like, it feels like his great passes are more like the great quarterbacks we've seen historically, and he has far bigger, like, yardage passing numbers than Lamar. But if you removed running from Josh, just like if you removed it from Lamar, that's not an efficient quarterback. Like we have years of data backing up that Josh Allen purely throwing the ball, it's a lot of boom, a lot of bust, a lot of yards. It's different than Lamar's, but the running is mandatory for the superhero stuff.
Absolutely.
And so that's where I think this, to your point, is noteworthy, because I don't think that, like, oh, okay, Josh Allen, age 33 plus, as a pure drop back passer, is a dominant player. It's the same way I've said that about, like, just about Lamar. Like, I think the threat of running, as different as it is critical to the success they have throwing the football. And so that would be the concern.
All right, let's head down to Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts named to the Pro Bowl, Dusty just told me. And the Eagles Got a new OC. Packers QB coach Sean Mannion will take the reins in Philadelphia. Now, he appeared in 14 games himself as a quarterback before picking up a headset. And the Eagles website, I pulled this from the Eagles website, says he played for or coached under McVay, Liam Cohen, Kevin O'Connell, Kevin Stefanski, and Zach Taylor, and has, quote, a heavy influence from Mike and Kyle Shanahan. So, do we expect Jalen Hurts to take his game to another level? Feels very offensive-minded, which is good for an OC.
I think he'll play better. I definitely think he'll play better. I think they'll lean into throwing it intermediate passes more. I think he'll run well next year. Like, I think their offense will be more consistent, and you won't see the, things you saw this year with them going scoreless so much in different halves. But he's never going to be like a huge statistical guy. He's never thrown for 4,000 yards. He's never thrown more than 25 touchdowns. Like, that's just not who he is. And I've said that before, that's not who he's going to be. To me, his legacy will be leadership and winning. Now, you got to win a lot for that to be your legacy, but that's what I see from him. He just does it differently. I've said before, he's like Tyrese Halliburton. I don't expect Tyrese Halliburton to come out next year and average 29 points a game. But if he does his thing and plays the way he does, which is different from most point guards now, he can be effective and so can the team, and he'll be a superstar. And so I think the same thing with Jalen.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't expect him to take his game to another level because when I look at the levels, I go back to 2023 when he was in that Super Bowl dueling with Patrick Mahomes. I felt like that's the best version of Jalen Hurts that we were exposed to. Mm-hmm. He has yet to meet that again. And so I'm not looking at it, will he be better than last year? I believe, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be hard, or he won't be hard-pressed to be better than what he was last year and perform and actually execute in the second halves of games like he wasn't able to do offensively last year. But to see him go to another level, it would have to be that he is better than what I've seen at his best.
And he's not. The Brew, uses the Halliburton comp. I used the Russell Wilson comp. He is who he is. And can you win a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts that way? Yeah. Yep. We have literally seen it. Can you have the highest scoring offense in football? Yeah. We've literally seen it. But he is going to, and we've seen it, by the way, you can't pin it on one coordinator. We've seen damn near a half dozen coordinators now. And he is always going to be right around 220 yards per game, right around a touchdown and a half per game. And that does put some constraints on the type of offense you can have. Since he's been a full-time starter, there have been this many. It's so funny, Brew, you said he's never thrown for 4,000. He's never thrown more than 25 touchdowns. There have been 21 quarterbacks to throw for 4,000 yards since he's been a starter. And that's not like, Patrick did it 4 times. Like, Patrick counts once there. Like, there have been 23 quarterbacks to throw more than 25 touchdowns. Jalen's done neither.
Oh, more than 25.
Yeah,
in a season.
His career high is 25.
He threw for 25.
Yeah. Okay. And so he has 0. So I just don't. He's a young player in that he's still in his prime, but I don't think he's a young player in that we expect massive leaps for a guy who's going into year 7. Like, I think you can improve, obviously, and around the edges, but I think that the idea that he all of a sudden is going to be a 275-yard per game passer, we have no evidence of that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's of the mindset, like, I win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all this criticism. I've won a Super Bowl, been to 2, been the MVP, played great in both. Because of the improvements he's made throughout, remember when he first came in?
Sure.
You had people that pulled for him that thought, man, he just can't throw. He's a great guy, great leader, can't throw. And so I would think if he really focused on his throwing problems, the things he can't do, I think he could improve and become a much better passer. But I think he looks at it like, I do what I do, and that's enough.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.